All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Doc, and to our team for not only allowing me to speak today, but even more so to be a director and be a part of this Black agenda. I really believe that this is something that is even more powerful than we recognize today. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll sit back and go, whoa, look what has been created. So I just wanted to start with that. So thank you. A little bit of background on myself. I've been in the sports industry for 21 years now. My background, like Doc said, I played football, grew up in Southern California, transferred here to go to UNLV. So I played at UNLV. When I finished in 2003, I started a program working with youth, and the ultimate goal was to help them get to the next level, help them get to college. So mentoring, training, development, recruiting, pretty much everything. Just a little short background. My senior year in high school, I came out of San Gabriel Valley, led the area in rushing, did some cool stuff on the field, had 2 scholarship offers, and I couldn't sign either one because I didn't qualify academically. So that was what was catastrophic then, and literally set me on an entirely different path, became my story and became how I created Phase One. So when people ask why I started working with youth and sports, it was because of that. From the time that I left California and moved to UNLV, which was from 1999 to 2003 when I finished. In that timeline, my oldest brother was strung out on crack cocaine. My youngest brother was in and out of jail. My nephew was serving a 12-year sentence. My best friend was serving an 18-year sentence. And all I could equate it to was, how am I here and they're there? It was football. I didn't care about school. Never once did you hear me say I want a degree and I'm trying to go to college. I just wanted to play football. And that's really what it was. So that passion and that experience has really led to where we're at right now with Phase One and what we've done. So Doc mentioned it. We're over 800 athletes now that have gotten scholarships that have been part of our program. We do everything from the training, the mentoring, nutrition, recruiting. We do it all. Out of that group, we've also had a good amount of pro athletes. I tell people, and I've done these numbers, a few years back, but out of Las Vegas alone, out of every athlete that has turned pro in this city, 8 out of 10 have been a part of Phase One program at some point. At some point, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's what we do. It's what we do when it comes to athletes. So now, what I want to kind of touch on today, because I don't want to spend a lot of time just on that part of what we do. I want to talk about something that I think is impacting not only our community, but the nation, which is NIL. So for some of you guys that may sound familiar, you may have heard the term. Some of you may already know, you may be following it, but NIL is name, image, and likeness, right? So the way that works in a nutshell, for years, hundreds of years, athletes that are playing in their sport, you see the name on their jersey, you go to that school, you go online, you could buy those jerseys, you could buy everything. And the university makes all the money. There's no revenue share, there's no partnership. In fact, it was illegal for you to sell your own jersey. So if you create a jersey, you create a t-shirt with your name on it before 2021, which was just a few short years ago, that was actually illegal and you would lose all of your eligibility. Doesn't really make sense to us in this room because we're entrepreneurs, we get it. But if you look at the system and how it's worked for so long, and then you realize that these universities are generating billions of dollars, and then you think about the flip side, a lot of the athletes on these teams look like the people in this room, right? Come from environments to where parents on Section 8, single mom, low income, they're struggling. And now they're in college and still struggling. There's college athletes that have literally, up until more recent, that are still eating ramen noodle at night, and you on a full ride scholarship, because what they don't tell you is we're going to pay for school, we're going to pay for books, and we're going to give you a little stipend, a couple $100 a month, and the rest is up to you. But since you're a Division I athlete, Division II athlete, you cannot work. And during the summer, you can only work this many hours. So how are we limiting our opportunity, but then also stripping away our image and our name and actually utilizing it to benefit the university? So when all this really started to hit the fan was in 2009. You guys may remember the O'Bannon brothers, UCLA basketball. Ed O'Bannon kind of really headed it up, but the brothers basically filed a lawsuit against the NCAA in 2009 that basically they were the first ones, and maybe not the first that we knew, that had a big name that said, well, you know what, we don't agree. This is violating the antitrust law, and we want to do something about it. They filed a lawsuit. It took from 2009 to 2014, and then the judge ruled in their favor. And when they ruled in their favor, it was like a shock to the world. No one knew what was coming. But what's crazy about that, still not much changed. They started writing basic legislation that says like an athlete can make an additional $5,000 a year. Okay, what that give me? You know what I mean? Now I can go to, Denny's instead of Jack in the Box. Like, really, it didn't do anything, right? But they looked at it as beneficial, right? You guys are making something. So it still really never worked in our favor, as an athlete, especially athletes that look like us. So fast forward, that was 2014. It took all the way to 2021, and this was a lot of pressure from city officials, from governors, from prominent people in the community, from pro athletes that really came to the table and really went to bat for athletes. And ultimately, in 2021, they changed the legislation to where now student athletes in college can be compensated for their name, their image, and their likeness. And that is as simple as making a t-shirt with your name and selling it, or as advanced as being on a video game. On all these NFL, Madden, all the video games that all these kids are playing that are making billions of dollars, before 2021, they could put you on that game. They didn't even have to pay you. They paid the university for the rights. And you're done as an athlete. So now they actually have to pay the individual athlete for them to be on that game. And an athlete has the ability to say, I don't want to be on it. Or pay me this much and we're good. If you don't see the value in that, make your game without me. And it's a powerful stand that we're I won't even say in the middle of, we're in the beginning of. Yes, sir. And so what I want to do, I want to give you guys, I got some notes in my phone. I got a couple examples because I'm going to show you guys how big this is. And then I want to bring it all the way down to even a smaller scale that I think a lot of athletes aren't taking advantage of. So just to give you an idea, now, as of 2021, when this legislation was passed, certain states started to get in front of it. So right now, 30 states even allow high school athletes to participate in NIL. So 30 states, Nevada is one of them, to where now a high school athlete can start their clothing line with their brand, with their name on the back, so their mom and aunties and family and everybody can have their shirt on and they can make money doing that. Before then, even that was illegal. Even that. So what would happen? People that had businesses that design shirts would make the shirt anyway and then sell 300 of them to friends and family, and the athlete don't get $1. And then you find out the athlete don't have no money and living in poverty and they struggling, and somebody that made $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on your name, on your shirt, and you told them to go buy it because you just wanted your family to have your name. But now 30 states have already passed, and the rest I think are going to follow suit. So 30 of them now allow high school athletes. So I'm going to go from the top all the way to the bottom. When I say the top, we'll talk about athletes like Bronny James. You guys all know LeBron's son, and this is all based on his college stuff. So obviously now he got drafted, all that, cool. But I'm talking about when he was a student athlete in college. His NIL valuation and what he generated was over $7.5 million in name, image, and likeness. So his $7.5 million was equivalent and or more than most NBA players were making on their contract in college. Now, granted, that's a big name, right? So, okay, it makes a little more sense. Arch Manning, you guys probably know that name, Peyton Manning, all those boys. So he was valued at and generated $3.5 million coming out of high school before he stepped foot on his college campus. 3.5, right? And the list goes on and on. LSU gymnast, $3.3 million. Caleb Williams, quarterback from SC, $3.2. Caitlin Clark made $2.7 million before she got drafted. And we're talking 2021, so this is happening in months. This isn't like something that's been around. We're talking about 3 years that it's even been legal, and athletes are already generating millions of dollars, right? Now, there's been a couple other high school athletes that I've been able to work with personally that have literally generated NIL deals and doing it on more of a localized level. So this is one of the things that I think athletes are missing. So if you guys have any athletes, you mentor any athletes, I'm definitely open to talking to them. But the point of this is we don't always have to look at the Nikes and Adidas and the big $3 million deals. What about the pizza place that's on the corner that you and your boys is all going to after the game anyway? So now what if we set up agreements, or we go to that owner of that mom and pop restaurant down the street from the school and we say, hey, on Friday nights, me and probably 30, 40, 50 of my athletes and friends and the girls and the cheerleaders and everybody else, guess what we do? We go eat. Would you like us to eat at your spot? You give me an NIL deal. That deal could be $1,000 a month, $500 a month. It could be whatever you determine. But if that athlete can bring you that type of business on a Friday night from 10 p.m. to midnight, there's some value in that. And so what I've been really working on solely is educating athletes on it. The other downside, we always talk business because that's what this is, right? The downside of it is the legislation was passed in 2021, but there is yet to be any defined education for the student athlete. So in my opinion, and I'll call it opinion, that's part of the big plan as well. We are now giving these athletes millions of dollars, but we're not teaching them how to manage their money. We're not even teaching them about taxes. Because guess what? That 3.5 is about 40% taxes that they waiting on. And you haven't even set up a corporation, an LLC, a structure, or anything because you don't know any better. And then you go home and they just happy you got the money. But then guess what? Mom, dad never had a business in most cases, so they don't know either. So who's going to educate you? The college coach is excited that you signed to their university and you got that check and you're making that money. So they're not going to spend time to say, hey, here's a financial advisor. Here's who I need you to meet with. So I still feel like there's a big gap in the system that has been created by the excitement of an athlete being able to now get a check and watch the repercussions over the next 2 to 5 years and how many athletes we find out that they in tax trouble. How many bank accounts then got seized. How many of them that got that tax bill and didn't have a dollar left. So I think a lot of the NIL right now is literally designed for these athletes to get a big check and then go spend it. Yes, sir. Right now it's the economy play. It's economy play. Because they're going to go get the Bentley, they're going to get the Challenger, the Charger, the whatever, they going to go get it. And in some ways we can't blame them. And now let's look at the reality of it is the average athlete on the NIL deal is 22 years old. And these are the upperclassmen. Right. These are the seniors, the juniors. So imagine what the 19-year-old doing. What's the 18-year-old doing? So that's the part that I think we have to spend in communities like this. We have to spend our energy and time in taking care of ours and actually educating them on the process and what to do next, how to start that business, how to invest in real estate, how to do different things that we know are going to generate generational wealth. And you're not just a college athlete that made $4 or $5 million and now you're done and you don't make it to the league and you broke. It's going to be the same scenarios that we've seen in pro sports for so long. Yes, sir. But now look at it. They're getting it 3 to 5 years earlier. Our pro athletes struggle with it and they coming out 26, 28, 30 years old and they're struggling financially after making millions of dollars. What is the expectation for the kids? And that's where I think we have to really come in as a community and say, hey, we want to be in front of this NIL. We want to build teams like this that say, hey, I need you to meet with this person about that. Hey, I love that you signed that deal. Good job. But who are you talking to about this? Did you set up an account for your taxes? We need to talk about that. Did you set up that LLC, that corporation, so you had them write-offs? So now when you go buy them cleats and uniforms and all your cool stuff, you can write it off as a part of your marketing budget because now you're getting paid for your name, image, likeness. So all that could be factored in as marketing now. But if they don't know that, who can we blame? We can't blame the kids, right? So I know that was a lot in a short time, but that's how my brain works. So I wanted to give you that. And then now I just want to kind of close it out with the flip side of it. When I look around this room, I know this is entrepreneurs. These are business owners. These are people that are in the community. These are people that love community, love our young black community. My advice to you would be to try to initiate some form of NIL opportunity through your business. What I mean by that, whatever type of business you have, if it's anything that could be even remotely relative to where you could benefit from the name, image, and likeness of an athlete, why not use them to build your marketing portfolio? Why use other companies and marketing companies and agencies and things like that when, like I said, if I own a pizza spot down the street from Centennial High School, if I give their best players a couple $100 instead of that Facebook ad, I could assure you that it's going to be damn near 100 kids out there in that parking lot getting one slice at a time for $4, $5. You're going to have to kick them out the parking lot. And we know at the end of the day, sports are led by the leaders on the field. So if you grab the best player, the 1 or 2, 3 best players on that team, if you're in that community, guess what? That's your Jordan. Yes, that's your LeBron. That's your marketing piece. So you grab them, they put your shirt on, they announce on their IG after the game, hey, we going to the pizza after the game, y'all turn up, we out here. You're going to win. You're going to win. So the reason this is so important to me is because I don't want our athletes to miss an opportunity, but even more so, I want us to learn how to work better together. These young black athletes, they got a name. You go to their social media. I got kids with 10, 15, 20, 30,000 followers on IG, 50, 60, 100,000 on TikTok. But yet our businesses are trying to get eyes on the business. But you've looked at every other strategy except for this one.
Yes, sir.
And if you really do the research, you probably even could come up with somebody in your family that's a nice athlete, because we all got them in our family, and say, hey, man, I'm going to pay you to do this. It's an NIL opportunity, and it's 100% legal. You ain't got to hide it. You can publicize it. You can put it out there. You can put them on your website. You can do all that because they're getting paid off their name, image, and likeness. And my job is to make sure we educate them in business. So we're going to look over the contractual agreement. We're going to make sure everything is in place. We're going to have a lawyer fine-tune, comb that thing to make sure we're not missing anything. We're going to do all that. But as a business owner, I think it's the most underpriced marketing in the U.S. today is NIL, because there's still big name athletes that you can get for a couple $100. I listed off some $1 million deals, but I know athletes right now give you a shout out on IG for $50, $100, and got followed. Think about it. You a 16, 17-year-old athlete, you got 50,000. I say, hey man, put phase 1 on your IG. They're like, all right, I'm gonna give you $100. They're like, cool. Hey, can I do it again? But you see my point. Why not utilize that? Because we know those are the leaders. Those are the leaders. Not to mention, those are the next generation. Not to mention the best players on those teams are where they going to next. They going to college. And then a percentage of them, guess where they going? They going to the league. So imagine you have a relationship. You already been working with them since they was a senior in high school. And then you work with them through college. And then they sign that big 30, 40, $50 million deal. Now they love you more than they love any other brand that done came later. Because Nike going to come after your name big. I'm going to come when I just see what you're doing in your community. Yes, sir. And to me, that's the difference. So my whole point of today's time was just to, one, share NIL and what it means, the history of it, how we got to this point, which hopefully that was pretty clear. But then more importantly is how we can get involved. That's really the key to the whole thing, is how can we get involved with that opportunity and take advantage of it as well.